Ladies and gentlemen, first up, a born fighter blessed with talent, limitless grit, Australia's own Leighton Hewitt!
A hero still in this part of the world. Leighton Hewitt is still going at the ripe old age of nearly 40. And we're looking forward to seeing what the great man on one of his favourite courts.
With an innate ability to return anything from the baseline, he's a favourite here in Australia. From Serbia, Novak Djokovic!
So good to see this man back on a tennis court, the former world #1. He's back in Australia where he's dominated the Australian Open at his absolute top. He was good today at Kooyong. Fantastic to have him a part of tiebreak 10s.
When this guy gets hot, watch out. From France, Lucas Pouille!
The term flashy Frenchman gets thrown around a bit, but this guy is definitely one. A quarter-finalist on a couple of occasions at Grand Slam level. He's been in the top 20 the past couple of years. He can provide anything on the court.
Never giving up on a single ball is part of his tennis DNA. Welcome, Rafael Nadal!
The world #1 was fantastic at the start of last year, making the final in that epic against Roger Federer, winning another French Open, winning a US Open. He's here to win another Grand Slam. This is the perfect warm-up.
One of the tour's most experienced players and much love here in Melbourne from the Czech Republic, Tomáš Berdych.
Coming back from injury, he's lean and hungry to make an imprint on the men's tour this year. A former Wimbledon finalist at his best. He's one of the best.
A born entertainer and winner of the 2018 Brisbane International. He's in great form, and from Australia, Nick Kyrgios!
This kind of format is almost invented by a guy like Nick, I reckon, just made for it. He loves a show. He's going to put one on here. This is the court in which he announced himself at the Australian Open a few years ago.
With a serve that puts fear into any opponent, standing over 6'4" from Canada, Milos Raonic.
Will the serve dominate the tiebreak 10s? Well, if it does, and this guy's at his top with his first strike, he's in for a night. The former world #3 Canadian coming back from injury. Great to have him in Melbourne again.
Carrying the hopes of Austria wherever he goes, our final player tonight, Dominic Thiem.
He's been so consistent over the last couple of years, now firmly entrenched in the top 10, #5 in the world, semi-finalist at the French Open last year. He's keen to make an imprint here at the Aussie Open this time around.
Ladies and gentlemen, your tiebreak 10 combatants.
Hewitt a bit later on. We're going to see this man next, Rafael Nadal. Awesome to have you here, Rafa. How are things with you at the moment?
Good. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, very happy to be back here in Australia. No, I supposed to be playing in Brisbane, but last year was a very long season, and I am very excited to be back here in this place. No, it's one of my favorites without a doubt, and always the crowd is fantastic. So just trying to enjoy.
How do you approach a night like tonight? Because it happened so quickly, as Novak just found out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the thing goes fast. I need to go fast too, no? So probably it's not my ideal format for my style of game, but here I am, and I'm going to try.
As always, Rafael Nadal, everyone, he's minutes away. He's off to do his usual warm-up. We're off to a short break. Rafael Nadal and Lucas Pouille on the way from Margaret Court Arena in Melbourne. paper, scissors, rock to decide who serves first. Luca Pui's going to serve first in this one against Rafael Nadal, Pat Cash.
Well, I'll tell you what, Luca is, he's beaten Rafa Nadal. He's beaten Rafa Nadal in a stinking hot day in the US Open in 2016 over about 6 hours, 5.5 hours. They were dead. It's slightly different here today, isn't it? He's got absolutely no time to get his way into the match. But Rafa can be a little bit of a slow starter, and that's the exciting thing about this event is that, as we just saw, and he a good start and hits and gets good balls. There's not endurance is not involved in this. It's all about a sprint.
Let's get our second match underway. Upstairs to Wally Masura and Jason Goodall.
Thanks very much, Adam. Yeah, fantastic match in prospect this, because they play different styles of tennis, don't they, Wally? Pat was absolutely right. That match in New York was a phenomenal one, which Pui eventually won. What about just the one tiebreak? Who does this format?
I think Rafa is such a boa constrictor by nature, isn't he? He just wants to kind of wrap himself around an opponent, and over time he just squeezes the life out of them. So he will have to, you know how cautious Rafa is at the start of the match? You may not see a forehand line for about 45 minutes. He'll just hook it cross, wear his man down, and then finally he'll start to use the full court. But tonight he's almost got to play against his personality. He's got to play against type. He's got to stand up, take that backhand on the rise, rip a few of those backhands across court. That comes more naturally to Pui. He's more of a shot maker.
Ready, play.
Pui to get us underway.
I'm going to call him the Frenchman. I just can't seem to get...
You can't do the Pui?
Yeah, my mouth around the Pui.
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 No, you did well there.
Is that all right? Pui.
Little dig.
Well, that's one way to see Rafa come to the net. Chase down a net cord.
1-0. Nadal.
Did play a little bit of tennis in the Kuyong exhibition. Lost to Richard Gasquet yesterday. This is the first event for Pui this season. Was supposed to play in Brisbane, Rafa, but just felt that because of the injuries last season, he wasn't able to put the right amount of prep time in. Wasn't quite ready to start the year. He is now.
You get the feeling that Rafa would measure his preparation to the minute, don't you? Very carefully planned. Well, you could see the Frenchman. I mean, he was a metre inside the baseline. He wanted to take a chance.
2-0.
Put a big rip on the ball.
That wasn't a bad bounce, was it?
Was that a rising delivery? Saw a few of those against the Brits.
I'll tell you what, as Englishmen, don't talk about the cricket. Jeez. Didn't take you long.
If you've ever got a chance to see Rafa live, this forehand, it is just vicious. Just the weight of shot does damage. It's not even the placement, just the revolutions.
Mr. Nadal, challenging the call, right?
No, it's been called wide.
In.
Just wide. Off three there, you can be a bit more aggressive than you would do otherwise.
I actually really like Rafa's backhand when he steps up and takes it on the rise, because it's such a linear shot. It's so simple. And if there's energy on the ball on the rise, he can get some value out of that backhand.
What a shot.
When you've got a left arm like a lobster claw, like a crab claw, you can just generate pace at end range.
0.
I mean, have a look at this. He's not even in screen.
I'll tell you what, that was a massive forehand, wasn't it? It's I watched him at Kooyong yesterday, and I tell you what, the intensity today is even more so. And Rafa's always intense. There's a lot of wind the other day in Kooyong. He's still in here, his roof is closed. He's seeing the ball really well, Rafa.
Cashy, I think Rafa's as strong as you. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think he's nearly as strong as you.
Not many are, that's for sure. But, the perfect start. 6-love. I mean, if you're Pui, what's your thought process here?
Well, I think you're just looking at that big, comfy chair and thinking, I could be back here any minute. Hard to see Rafa losing from here, isn't it? 6-0.
So interesting, though, wasn't it? Right from the first point of the previous tiebreak between Djokovic and Hewitt, Rafa was already warming up, wasn't he? Already going through that process of getting ready to compete. Like physically, but already asserting himself emotionally too.
Little shank from Rafa, but he'll take it. But you know what you just said there, Jason, asserting himself. Now, certain players in every generation have unbelievable court presence. I think Rafa's the man in this generation. Roger's got that presence through just his sheer pedigree and record, but physically, Rafa gets on the court and he imposes himself. Oh, he's on fire.
Again, love that footwork up the court, taking the ball on the rise, inside the baseline. That's Rafa at his very best.
That's normally Rafa after about 4 hours.
0. Nadal.
When his opponent's got no legs left, he'll take some chances. But tonight he realises that's the way forward. Maybe he should have played like this a bit earlier in his career. Might have saved his knees.
I think it was Billie Jean King that suggested champions adjust, don't they?
Yeah.
They're able to take into consideration whatever the circumstances are,
Nadal.
do whatever's required. That's what Nadal's done so far this evening.
And lucky for the Frenchman, because down here in Australia, Jason, if you lose 10-0, you've got to drop your pants. He gets to keep his clothes on. Oh, flattens out the first serve. 199 Ks.
Hasn't taken him long. A whole host of
Nadal.
match points here for Nadal.
Oh, perfect time.
Set a match. Nadal.
Won't take him long. Nadal certainly hitting the ground running this evening in the tiebreak tens. In the better of Luca Pui, 10 points to 1.
With Luca Pui, what do I say after that against Rafa? How'd you find it?
Not very fun, actually. No, cannot say I made a base start, 6-love down, but no, it was fun to play in front of you. Rafa is a great player, so I try to be better in the next tiebreak.
Mate, you'll get that opportunity next week. Good luck in the Australian Open. Over to Pat with the great man.
Well, Rafa, that's just about perfect tiebreaker. I saw you at Kooyong a couple of days ago. Very windy, nice still conditions here today. That was just awesome.
Yeah, it was a good start. I played well. No, yeah, things happen so quick, and if you start well, then you get confident, and it's very difficult to come back in this format.
Yeah, well, let's look at it. At 5-0, you're out of position off the court, and I know we've seen you do this many times before, but what do you think when you're that far away and that far back? What do you do?
I don't know. I know I am very far. If I don't hit very strong and very quick, the point is over. So that's what I try to do. And sometimes goes well, sometimes go to the 3 meters behind the line, but
I don't think it does that often. Well done, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Outstanding, Rafael Nadal. This guy next to me has been in outstanding form to start 2018.
Newton's been retired, but he's coming out and playing great tennis. It doesn't get any easier for him. I mean, he's beaten Djokovic, 6-time Australian Open champion. Now he's got Rafa. Now Rafa's got something to prove. He wants to get back into the get into some form and you know, improve on his performance at Kooyong a couple of days ago. Great tiebreaker, and you know, these are great conditions for him. So you know, he's keen. Leighton, well, he's just happy to be out here, isn't he? And he's getting some fun. He's loving being out in the crowd. He's playing, of course, the Australian Open in the doubles, and hey, he may be $250,000. Can he get that lucky? It's going to be tricky. It's going to be tough.
They put him in the mood. The DJs put him in a mood. I don't know if you heard that, Kashi, a short time ago. They played the Adelaide Crows song. Rafa at the other end of the...
I tune out when that happens.
Well, Rafa was up the other end. He didn't know what the hell it meant. So
I didn't. That doesn't really mean anything, to be honest.
I'm not sure if he's got the Real Madrid song or whatever they play over there at the Bernabeu, but it probably wouldn't mean much to Leighton Hewitt if they played that. Anyway, we're set. It's about tennis.
He's
it's about tiebreak.
Is he a Barca fan?
Real Madrid.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Real Madrid.
Lost my respect for him.
Even though his uncle played for Barcelona, he's a Spanish football legend. Let's get upstairs to Wally Masur and Jason Goodall. Thankfully, this is about tennis and not football.
Thanks very much, Adam. I don't know what you're talking about with the Adelaide Crows. I'll leave that to you, Wally. But the one thing that Leighton will need to do in this particular matchup is serve well, which is exactly what he did against Djokovic.
He did, and we spoke about Leighton, right shoulder around left. So he loves that slider out wide on the first court, and he did it with great effect. And it's not about pace, it's about accuracy, isn't it? Close to the line, and then when he's got Novak looking for that wide forehand, bang, ace down the middle. So that's how he operates.
It's always been the case, hasn't it? As you suggested earlier, the low trajectory, the slide through the court, it's always been difficult to return.
And players don't like it. And do you remember the match point against Novak? We saw it in highlights in slow-mo. His backhand, he shuffled it down. Novak had to pick up the backhand from below knee high. He didn't enjoy it.
To serve.
So the majority of the current players like the ball bouncing up on them. There is Leighton's son, Cruz. He's a Hewitt through and through. You see him trailing a racket in his arm. He's pretty keen on his tennis too, Cruz.
The supporting dad. He needs to get off to a decent start here. Head-to-head record between these two. 7 wins for Rafa, just 4 for Leighton, who did get the better of Nadal early on in Rafa's career, but towards the tail end of Leighton's, of course, it was very, very difficult to get the better of the Spaniard. Looked sharp in his win initially against Luca Pui.
Leighton has a lot of respect for Rafa. He has so much respect for the way he plays the game, and he likes him as a person. So there it is again. Leighton just that flat, everything going away.
Yeah, that backhand return, certainly his best, isn't it?
Yep.
If you're Nadal, he switch it up a little bit, go to the forehand.
He'd be better off serving right hit forehand.
Especially to the right court, because that opens up the court for the first ground stroke, doesn't it?
Yeah. He's Rafa's serve is interesting, isn't it? If Rafa was a right-hander, I don't think his serve would be much. But the fact that he's lefty and it's got a bit of junk on it makes it quite handy.
He's tinkered with it a lot down the years as well, hasn't he?
Yep. Moyer's got him trying to hit it a little bit more in recent years.
That's lovely serve. Still got plenty of support here. How's he doing as Davis Cup captain?
Fantastically well. Look how low that's a little dart, isn't it? Look, fantastically well. He's approached that role with the same sort of vigour that he approached his tennis. He's very hands-on. He's working hard to get a result.
Oh, he's made it!
I can't believe that.
That's Rafa at his very best.
And look, Leighton, he makes this backhand volley. I mean, he had to dig it out. But he probably thinks, look, I've just got to dig it out and make it.
I mean, he's not even in shot there. Look at the distance that Nadal had to cover there and still had so much to do.
I reckon he got the last string on the racket.
Wow. Amazing dig. Nadal with a 3-2 lead.
But you know what? If you chase that every day in practice, you may just make it in the match. And that's what Rafa does.
Outstanding from Rafael Nadal, especially those 2 points. Nick Kyrgios here. Reverse the roles here, Nick. So you're the Davis Cup captain. Give some advice to Leighton.
Mate, he's playing some good tennis at the moment. He can't really do too much more, but you know, it's early days here. We'll see if he can turn it around.
What would your tactic be against Rafa?
He can't do much right now. He's playing pretty good. He's showing why he's a multiple-time Grand Slam champion and one of the greatest of all time, I guess.
Thanks, Nick. Best seat in the house.
so nice, isn't it? Adam and Pat courtside, we get that kind of insight from these players. And of course, Nick did beat Rafa in Cincinnati last year, didn't he? Blew him off the court. He's got the type of game that can hurt him, and shot to prominence with that big win over Rafa at Wimbledon, didn't he, on centre court?
It changed his career right there, that one match. Not just beating Rafa, but the manner in which he beat Rafa.
Yeah. It's a match I'll never forget. And neither will Rafa or Nick. Brilliant.
He'd be disappointed, Leighton, because he was balanced. I mean, he'd done all the scrapping.
And he's got a world-class lob, hasn't he?
Oh, he does. He would not. He'd be disappointed in this, because this is Leighton at his best. Yeah, I'll jag it back. I'll do whatever I can. But have a look here. He's actually balanced. A bit more tennis under his belt. He whips that over the head of Rafa.
Again, it was a nice aggressive court position from Nadal throughout the rally. Good to see.
Good angle, low camera angle. Look at Leighton's ball flight. Rafa's got to hit up on everything.
He's got to push the envelope, hasn't he? Like there. He's got to force Nadal into error.
5-3. Nadal.
Just out of the corner of his eye there, Nadal, I'm sure, seeing Leighton surge forwards, tries to do a little more with the slice backhand. Had Leighton stayed back, wouldn't have missed that.
He's played well here, Leighton. He's playing well. Not far off the pace.
Oh, he's really enjoying it, isn't he? Perfect format for him, really. Made it. It's a wonderful strike. Oh, no, it's been called out.
Hewitt challenging the call, left far sideline. The ball was called out.
Or was it?
I've lost confidence after my Dominic Thiem call.
Well, Hewitt needs it, that's for sure. What about a hometown call?
Leighton's pretty positive here. And that's why.
Oh, he gets it. Lovely combination.
Big swing, isn't it?
5-4. Nadal.
5-4, 6-3 if it's out. Massive swing.
Perfect pattern of play. Left-handers, an awful lot of prize money down the years.
So we talk about the trajectory of Hewitt, but he floated that one a little bit. Rafa got the ball to bounce up above waist height and look out. He just brushes so sharply up the back of the ball, the bounce is so hard to deal with. Drop shot for the crowd there, Rafa. That's not like him. He does it well on clay, but of course on hard court it's got to be inch perfect. It wasn't. Leighton takes advantage.
Yeah, just enough depth, wasn't there, on the little bunt from Hewitt.
But he's very good at that. In and around the net, his hands are good. He doesn't overplay, he puts the ball in the right spot, knows how to volley. He's pushed the envelope on second serve, Leighton. It'll be interesting to see what he does here. A little more safe.
Let's get courtside. Pat Cash.
Yeah, I tell you what, Leighton was right in that. I was just wondering, I know what it's like when you're getting towards the end of your career and you're still playing with the young guys. You need to push, but if you push a little bit too much, then you're going to get yourself in uncomfortable situations, and it's a position that you're not used to because you're not on the tour all the time. And I was just wondering that, and then he just pushed a little bit hard on that forehand. I mean, he wouldn't have normally missed that in a year or so ago, but at this stage of his career, you can't expect him to make them all. But boy, he's playing well, Leighton, and Rafa's doing what Rafa does. He could rip a couple of big ones now, so Leighton has to really hold on here. A big serve, probably down the middle, go for an ace. Doesn't want to get in a rally, really.
Called it, Cashy. He called it. Set him up again, didn't he? Every serve's been slider wide.
Cash should do some coaching.
Yeah.
Nadal.
I know a girl on tour, Coco Vandermeer, plays a pretty aggressive game. I reckon they'd go all right.
Give it a shot. It's a lovely serve. So just the 1 point in it. Nadal, 2 serves to come.
Leighton is enjoying this.
He misses competing, doesn't he? It's obvious. Terrific combination. Hewitt is on fire.
That is so Leighton too. When he's on the run here, he's just going to make you play a low volley. He's not going to try to pass you. He'll play a low volley. He'll back himself on the next shot. That was spooned up nicely by Rafa. His old instincts are there. Now, this is interesting. At least pressure back on Rafa.
Superb tennis.
Leighton's probably saying right now, why do I not stay away from that forehand?
8-7.
At such a critical time, he goes forehand, and that's what he gets in reply. Sneaky good at the net, Rafa, isn't he? Over the years, he has improved that so much. I mean, that was an easy volley, but his instincts moving forward.
Yeah, comes in at the right time, doesn't he? That's key. Just the one shot that sometimes causes him all sorts of problems. Timing way off there.
Well, he was absolutely out in front of that, wasn't he? That nearly dropped under his racket. I mean, it was 135k, so it was definitely a change-up. And he is about 5 metres behind the baseline. It just didn't carry onto his racket.
Bonus for Hewitt. 8 apiece. Such a sensible point that constructed it.
I don't think the crowd can quite believe it. I mean,
Hewitt
went into this favourite, this particular matchup. Now he's match point down.
Oh.
Does he take a chance? And just have one crack?
Is that what you would advise?
That's what I'm feeling.
Decent serve, but it was there, wasn't it?
That was Leighton having a crack, but it was a good serve into the body, wasn't it? It was hard to swing as freely as he would have liked.
Adam, what have you got?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. With Thomas Burdick, who's patiently waiting here. You're playing the semi-final against Roundage. What's it like, this experience? Because you know you've got your semi-final, but you're assessing who you're going to play maybe in the final as well. The headspace, how is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really entertaining. I have to say that it's very interesting to see Leighton, you know, in this shape and on this level playing, you know, against these guys. So really, I enjoy, and, you know, like being courtside, it's something what we really not used to, and just seeing the match from here, it's cool.
Who wins?
Leighton.
Well done. Local knowledge.
There was a slight pause there, wasn't there?
Diplomacy.
Yes. Shame.
So there it is in reverse. Rafa, nothing on the slice, just didn't carry through for Leighton. He got out in front of it, dragged it into the net.
Nadal.
Might have been better served just to slice it back himself, stay in the point. Slow the pressure back on the Spaniard. How quickly it turns. Match point, Rafa.
Let's see if he has the same problem on the second serve here. He's not moving up.
Rafa goes cautious on us. What was that, 4 slices in a row? I mean, it was good tennis from Hewitt, kept him on the stretch.
Again, didn't do much with the return, did he? It was only 128 kilometres an hour on that second serve. There for the taking.
Yeah, you got to step up and take that on the rise, don't you?
10-all, remember, got to win by 2.
Funny game, tennis, isn't it? Doesn't matter what the format is. Tension creeps in.
It's a brilliant return. Slightly more confidence off the backhand when he's facing a serve with no real pace. He's going to hit through the ball a little more.
A lot less going on the backhand, isn't it? Straight back, straight through. Almost less can go wrong. He's so vicious up the back of the ball or the forehand. If the timing's not there, it can go horribly awry.
So another chance for Nadal here to move safely through to the final. It's doing well to hang around.
11-all.
It's 2 match points that have come and gone now for Rafa.
This almost encapsulates Hewitt's career, doesn't it? 11-all. Tie-break 10s, going the distance.
Love a do-over there.
That's what Pat Cash was talking about.
12,
Just
11.
how hard do you
Nadal.
push? It's not subconscious. He hasn't played a match every day for the last 3 months. He's got to think about it, and you can just see telling himself to stay on a little bit longer. Hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Third.
Put a foot wrong so far, Hewitt.
It's Rafa who moves safely through to the final. The $250,000 US now within touching distance for the Spaniard. He gets the better of Hewitt, who of course did have match point along the way. Terrific effort, but it's Nadal who's safely through.
With Leighton Hewitt, Leighton, you do realise he's world #1 and you're retired, right? That's ridiculous tennis from yourself. How did you find it out there?
Oh, it's just the whole night's a lot of fun for me. You know, when you retire and, you know, you miss playing in these big arenas against the best players in the world, and this is the format that gives me some kind of chance to come out here and win a couple of points against these guys. So, you know, for me, it's just a big thrill to be a part of it.
And a nice little tune-up for the doubles next week as well with Sam Groth. Thanks very much. Leighton Hewitt, everyone. Outstanding tonight. Over to Cashy with the winner.
Well, Rafa was, I think, is probably a little closer than you expected. What makes Leighton's game so different or so difficult?
No, I expected a very tough match. No, it's not no doubt about that. No, Leighton is one of the greatest competitors of this sport, and he's still very fit. So very happy to see him playing on this court again. So I was very excited to play here again, especially here in Australia. So yeah, I wish him all the best for the doubles.
Well, he's a great competitor. You're an awesome competitor, and saving some match points must make you feel pretty good after a few months off.
Yes, no, happy to be back, as I said before, and I'm going for the final.
Thanks, Rafa.
He shall prepare. We're off to a short break. So Rafael Nadal, I don't know if you can have an epic in tie-break 10s. If you can, that was it against Leighton Hewitt. Outstanding tennis from both men. Off to a short break, the second semi. Raonic, Burdick on the way.
Hey Jack,
On the bike, keeping warm, Rafa. Usually you're in a hotel room or in the locker room watching your next opponent. What's this experience like, and what are you seeing from both Thomas and Milos?
Well, we know each other very well, no? So, yeah. Both are so difficult players to play against, big serves, big shots, and especially in a tie-break, you don't want to play tie-break against these guys, no? But, yeah, you need to be focused, you need to play with the right intensity since the beginning in the tie-breaks, and that's what I'm going to try.
Thanks, mate. Good luck in the final.
Yeah.
You're watching live coverage of the tie-break 10s here in Melbourne, and it all comes down to this. Nadal winning the rock-off. He wasn't quite sure he'd done that initially. That's all part and parcel of this new format of tennis that I hope you've been enjoying all evening. And these two have certainly played some sensational tennis so far. From what you've seen, Wally, this evening, which of these two do you favour in this final?
They've probably struck the ball the cleanest, haven't they? They're through to the final. They don't have the biggest serves on display tonight, but they probably hit the ball the best off the ground. Rafa's moving beautifully. There's not much between this. I favour Rafa just. He's just got that little X factor, and it's going to come down to a point here, a point there, and we know Rafa can come up with the unbelievable. But I think Thomas is going to ask a lot of questions of him because he's got that really direct, hard ball. Takes time away from Rafa. But you talk about the game face of Rafa too. He's on. He's switched on. There's a big sign at the back of the court that says $250,000. Rafa's probably got his eye on that.
So is Burdick. It's winner takes all.
Thomas Burdick to serve.
That'd be a good year, wouldn't it? $250,000.
That'd be a good career. Lovell. Let's get courtside for our residence experts. Pat Cash, what do you got?
1-0 Nadal.
Well, yeah, it's hard to go past Rafa, isn't it? But you know, these conditions actually, as seen through the night, suit Thomas. It's a very flat ball. He's happy to hit it down the line to Rafa's back in or inside out. He hit a lot of winners. But a nice little start. Break a serve straight away from Rafa.
He's got a decent record against Burdick. He's won 19 of the 23 matches that they've played on the ATP World Tour. You're always looking for positives, and Burdick will remember the last time he beat Nadal was here at the Australian Open in 2015. Won that match in straight sets in the quarterfinals. So every cloud.
And that's exactly what Pat Cash was just talking about. The direct, flat ball. He's a full foot lower in net clearance on the forehand, Thomas Burdick, but it's a real rifle shot. If you don't see it early and you're slightly wrong-footed, tough to get to it, as was the case in the previous point. Probably like to see Thomas give us a few of these second serves and nudge. That was a good one.
You've always needed a huge game, haven't you, to be able to get the better of Nadal on the hard court.
2-1 Nadal.
The trouble with Rafa is he's such a physical beast. Even if you have a huge game, you've got to maintain it for hours. And it's tricky to do both physically and then just to play with not much margin and be aggressive and execute really well. I mean, he's the Bjorn Borg, the Jimmy Connors of his era, isn't he? He's all legs, he's all heart. Just never goes away.
Burdick's played with great fluency this evening. Very little to lose. But now, of course, a very different scenario with all of that money on the line.
Let's listen.
I look at Rafa's returning position. I mean, look, he's a metre and 2 metres behind the Melbourne side. I mean, slider wide, come in, just every now and then. Maybe one every 3 or 4 serves. Surely you're going to get a volley into the open court, just the element of surprise. But that's not really part of Thomas's repertoire. It's how he closed the match out against Raonic earlier this evening.
Success early on for Burdick.
3-2, Burdick.
So important to start well when it's simply the first to 10.
I think the big thing about the early start and just getting your nose in front, you're sort of playing with a casino's chips. You can kind of roll the dice and have a crack at a few. If one or two of those goes in, all of a sudden you find yourself with a 4 or 5 point lead. So these early exchanges are crucial.
Nadal is challenging the call on the right service line. The ball is called out.
Lefty swinging serve into the forehand hip of Burdick, who mishit it. Was it off the line? Yes, it was. Oh, just. What's that, a millimetre?
Point for Nadal, 3-all.
4 millimetres, so plenty of margin for error there. Both players will be delighted with the start that they've made here.
Ready, mate.
Adam.
I think you heard me just then. Sorry, Jason, I wasn't getting impatient or anything. Leighton, how do you see this matchup between the two? What does Thomas have to do exceptionally well in the next few points to make sure Rafa doesn't get on a bit of a roll?
Yeah, well, as we spoke earlier, he's got such easy power. He's got to serve well, though. If he can make a lot of first serves and get the first hit in, he's got to get Rafa on the run. We know how good Rafa is, moving at the back of the court, but you know he's got to try and open up that backhand as best as he can.
Has much changed the way he hits the ball in 13 years when you kind of first played him here at the Aussie in 2004?
Not really. You know, the way he came about when I first saw him with his forehand was quite incredible. He was the first person that really took that bigger cut at the ball and the spin that he got off the court, and he still does it today.
Very well. Cheers, Leighton.
I guess what's great about having someone like Leighton as your Davis Cup captain is he's got experience in playing all these guys, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's got the big match experience. He's won the Davis Cup, played all sorts of home and away epic 5-setters in Davis Cup, so we're pretty fortunate. And you know, if you have a look at the people that we've had involved in Davis Cup in Australia over the years, Pat Rafter, John Newcomb, Neil Fraser.
You?
Yeah, well, I snuck in there for a year, but it is terrific that our ex-players want to get back involved in that capacity. They've got a lot to offer.
These two have certainly had much to offer throughout the course of the evening. Filled us with some fabulous tennis. But it's Burdick who's got a little bit of a lead now, halfway there, 5-3. That's the play, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't serve volleying, was he? But he was quick to see that it was floating. Toppy volley, we'll take that. That's fine. Don't have to change the grip. Just a standard forehand grip. There it is. Takes it out of the air beautifully.
Good slice serve like that gives you so many options, doesn't it?
I was almost inclined to say go big T over the low part of the net, flat, go for the cheap point, but that was a pretty good 1-2 punch right there.
Nadal's in trouble now.
So he pulls the trigger when he's down on the scoreboard. He's got a deficit, a little more pressure.
7-3, Burdick.
Must-win points for Nadal, this. Brilliant response.
Might be the hallmark of all the great players, isn't it? The bigger the moment, the more pressure, the better they play. They want to take it on. They want the match on their racket. They don't shy away from a difficult situation. But Burdick now 7-4, 2 serves. That's wide.
Mr. Nadal is challenging the call on the right.
I'm going out on a limb. I'm saying wide.
The ball is called in.
Oh, it's perfect.
Spot on.
Just like your eyesight.
8-4. Verdict.
What do you think,
Nadal has no challenges remaining. And we should be changing ends, guys. Let's change it.
That's what I thought.
Well, you called it up here.
Yeah. I thought I'd suddenly got something wrong there.
It's up to the umpire, isn't it? Not the player's fault. No, he should call end changes.
Because they're in the...
He'll be buying his umpiring cohort around of beers later tonight, I would suggest.
At least. A wry smile on the face of Burdick. 2 points away from pocketing $250,000 US.
And let's not forget the Crown Casino just a stone's throw away from here.
Could double his money, at least. Or lose it all in one fell swoop.
Let's listen.
Okay, he's gone tee twice, same result. And net cord. Cashy called it, didn't he? Find that first serve, Leighton, I should say. Cheap points, he's done that beautifully, Burditch. Rafa has not been able to play on the return points.
Bringing up tiebreak 10's championship points.
Single sideline, so this match point for Burdick. It's a nice response.
Ready.
He's missed it. And it's Thomas Burdick.
10 points to 5.
Who's the tiebreak 10's champion here in Melbourne. And he will leave this evening $250,000 richer. He's played some fantastic tennis throughout the course of the evening and thoroughly deserves his victory. He's been faultless, really. Got off to a perfect start in most of his matches by a better player. Burdick hardly put a foot wrong. Initially 10 points to 8, beat Dominic Thiem 11 points to 9, and he's finally been able to get the better of